Hey everyone, today is July 15th, 2025, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different on the channel. We're going to be exploring the one and only Greenwich, Connecticut. I thought it would be appropriate to explore Greenwich, Connecticut today because it is the official start of earnings season. Now, we're standing right outside of the Metro North train station. This is a very, very convenient town to live in because not only do you have the luxury of kind of living in the suburbs, being out in nature, and enjoying all the luxury that Greenwich has to offer, but you're about 1 hour train ride into Manhattan. Greenwich, Connecticut is also known for its finance community, particularly in the hedge fund business. A lot of hedge fund traders, quantitative traders, and global macro traders call Greenwich home. And today we're going to be exploring the main town. So let's go ahead and get started. The town is just really, really beautiful as well. You'll notice a massive culmination of luxury branded stores. Kind of reminds me of the Hamptons a little bit, if anybody's walked around Southampton or Watermill, New York. You have all these nice boutiques and shops and restaurants. So we're on Greenwich Avenue now, on the corner of Railroad Avenue. I'll zoom in on the train station just so you can get some perspective to see it. It looks like they're doing some major renovations on it. So that's where you would go to get on the train to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan. This is a restaurant called East End, which is really quite nice. I also really like a lot of the old colonial style buildings all along the side. Here you have Round Hill Music Co., local music store here in Greenwich. To the right, you have a really nice art gallery. This is the Samuel Owen Gallery. It's very similar to what you would have in Manhattan, like Midtown East, even Upper East Side. South Bay Mediterranean cuisine. And across the street you have a Theory, which is a high-end sort of clothing store. And then you have this bakery, which I ate at this morning. Now, walking through Greenwich, you know what it also kind of reminds me of a little bit? If anybody has ever been to upstate New York, and I'm talking about very, very far upstate, there's a really cute town called Skaneateles that's right on the lake. And it seems very similar to that town, more like the old colonial style architecture. This is very nice. A little bit further up, we're going to pass the Greenwich Financial Center. This place is very trendy now. Brandy Melville. And this is that vegan ice cream store with all the pink branding. They have so many locations all over Manhattan as well. This restaurant called Harvest looks pretty cool. Now, one thing I just quickly want to mention about earnings season, mainly because we don't really talk finance on our standalone walking tours. We usually do that on our live streams. But at the very beginning of earnings season, you always have the financials reporting earnings first, right? So all of the major investment banks, the brokerages, and the credit card companies. And it's very critical to pay very close attention to how the financials report, because we can use a lot of that data as a proxy for earnings in the future for other companies, particularly in consumer discretionary, consumer staples, and even in tech. So JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Morgan Stanley is on the chopping block to report. And I always really lightning focus on a lot of the credit card data, because if credit card spending is very strong, you could assume that, you know, consumers are spending on other products and services. And if you have delinquency rates that are relatively low, right, 30, 60, and 90-day delinquencies are low at many of the credit card issuers, well, the financial health of a lot of consumers are pretty strong. And that should power earnings growth at other companies as well. Another prediction I have for earnings season as it relates to the major investment banks is I think we're going to have a really strong, I would say, second half of the year at many of the banks in terms of new issues or IPOs. 2021 marked the top of the IPO market, kind of like that blow-off top with IPOs, SPACs, and the like. And the IPO market's really been shut off, essentially, mainly due to higher interest rates and an overall brutal bear market from the latter half of 2021 through 2022 and 2023. But now the IPO market's roaring back, and I think you're going to see that continue, particularly with a lot of these new AI companies coming public. In addition, you also have the crypto markets doing really well. So I think you're going to have pure play crypto-centric IPOs off the back of that Circle IPO, which was very successful. Stable coins and the like. So just keep an eye out for that. The most exciting new issue that came public at the beginning of July was Galaxy Digital, which is Mike Novogratz company. It is a crypto first and data center first company. It was public in Canada due to the ridiculous regulatory nonsense here in America, particularly with the SEC when Gary Gensler was the head of the SEC. But now crypto regulation in the United States is on the upswing. So keep an eye out for Galaxy Digital. And they have one of the largest data centers in the country. In Texas, it's called Helios, so just keep an eye on Galaxy Digital. In any event, this is now the Greenwich Financial Center, right here on the corner. So many people in finance come here and work. And look at this, you even have an Apple store. So Greenwich, Connecticut has its own dedicated Apple store here too. Pretty cool. So many boutiques.
It'll be really nice down by the beach.
Across the street you have an e-soap. This is a very famous and luxurious kind of soaps and fragrances store. You also have a Gregory's coffee. Very similar to the shops you would see in Manhattan. More boutiques. This looks like a really nice restaurant. Tons of outdoor dining space too. It is hot though.
We don't have to.
I think it's 94 degrees.
Doesn't make any
My friends were like, probably they are.
Pull off to the side to look at some more of the storefronts. This is very Hamptons-esque. Todd Schneider and Tempur-Pedic. I'm surprised they don't have like a lot of the main real estate brokerages. This is the corner of Greenwich Avenue and Arch Street.
One of Marie's.
I don't think it's that crazy.
Here's their main Starbucks. Everything's really clean and well maintained here. It's a very aesthetically pleasing town. This is the town hall building. Really nice architecture. This is now Bruce Place.
Yeah, your life will get a lot easier.
Yeah, right on Harold Avenue.
This is the Town of Greenwich Public Safety Complex. More high-end stores. Trumi. This is like a luxury luggage brand.
Thank you.
Pretty interesting, they even have a Le Labo here. Le Labo is like a very high-end fragrance, soap, perfume store. I believe the company was started in Manhattan, but obviously now they're all over. You have an RH Outdoor, a Sunglass Hut, and the Real Real. This is the new Tesla Model 3. Let's look at this restaurant. It has a pretty interesting outdoor dining space here. Mole. Looks like it's only open for maybe dinner or like a late lunch. More boutiques. Very similar to Watermill. And this is the Patek Philippe. Very expensive watchmaker. I think some of those watches go up to like, I think 6 figures, something crazy. I'm not a big watch guy, but I think some of them go for a hefty penny. Wow, this is Greenwich Avenue and West Elm. This is a really beautiful intersection, look at that. Look at the clock. 1640. You even have a Rag and Bone across the street. This is a nice shot. Okay, let's continue up. Again, this is the corner of West Elm Street and Greenwich. You can tell here there's a lot of the newer buildings, like in this JP Morgan Chase Wealth Management. And as you go further, this is a lot of the newer developments. Looks like you have a Barney's and Saks Fifth Avenue. And I think this is the other side of Saks Fifth Avenue. Really nice. They even have a Prada store too. It's a really stunning church too.
Mira qué hermoso. ¿Quieres sacar una foto de mí?
Oh, wait, no, yeah, that one is another one.
Wow, look at that. Over to the left, you have a full Tiffany & Co. Really nice. And then this is looking back down towards the church and into the town. They have a Lululemon. I mean, all of this being within 1 hour commute to Grand Central, it's not bad. Obviously, you have to pay a pretty penny to be able to live here. Some of the single family homes in Greenwich are so gorgeous, so gorgeous. Right on the water, the Long Island Sound. But I could definitely see why this neighborhood has become so popular amongst the finance community, within the hedge fund business, the investment banking business. Especially in the summer. It's such a beautiful summer town. We'll go after this car. They have a sweet green and a Maman. Two extremely, extremely popular places in Manhattan. Maman Coffee Bakery and Kitchen. That was a nice Rivian that just drove past. And then a sweet green. You know, the more I see Rivians in the wild, the more I think I like it more than Tesla, I'm not gonna lie. But that's a pretty big statement. I think I'd still go with the Tesla. But I'm really liking Rivian and I'm really liking Lucid. I think the biggest value proposition with Tesla down the line is the robo-taxis. So anybody who has a Tesla, at least the vision for Tesla is that you'll be able to have your own vehicle drive you to work. And while you're at work, your vehicle will be out essentially driving an Uber type deal, fully autonomous robo-taxi. So I don't know how any other auto OEM is going to be able to compete with that, because per sale, Tesla's really the only EV maker that's making money per vehicle. And they have the software, they have the tech, but most importantly, they have the data. I think whoever is going to win the fully autonomous future is going to be the company with the largest amount of data to train off of, and by far that's Tesla. Not even a comparison. Miku Sushi. I like how the town, you're kind of walking uphill. So if you zoom in, now that we're on a higher vantage point, you can actually see the Long Island Sound. If you look in the distance, that's the water. It's really, really nice. They have a Sephora to the left as well. All brand new infrastructure too. If you'll notice, the sidewalks are brand new. These buildings kind of remind you of like Forest Hills. These buildings. If you ever walked around Forest Hills, Queens, everything looks like this. Okay, we'll go ahead and cross the street, and then we'll head down. But I'm very, very impressed with Greenwich. Like, unbelievably impressed. I could definitely see why people like it. Oh, look at this. In here they even have a kava. Now, right as kava was emerging out of its stage 1 IPO base, I used to own a ton of that stock. I'm still long, I don't have a position in the company now, but still long term I think kava is poised to do well. It has a very, very similar growth trajectory to Chipotle, and it's very scalable. One thing about those fast casual businesses, if they have a very, very simple menu and it's scalable and you can just constantly crank out and open stores, they're really cash cows. That was really the main play with Chipotle. Now, another business that, funny enough, recently just opened up in New York is called Luckin Coffee. And Luckin Coffee, it used to be traded in the US, but it was delisted after they had they were cooking their books to the tune of like $200 million in fake revenue, but the company is a real coffee company in China. So it used to trade under the ticker symbol LK. This was, I think, 2019. I actually used to own that stock before it was, apparently, not apparently, it was delisted. And it had all of the metrics that I look for, right? The earnings, the sales, the return on equity. But there was not one major institution that owned that stock. Not one. And so that was a little sketchy. And I guess, everybody knows something. But now they're relisting and they're expanding to the United States. So there is a Luckin Coffee now in New York City. And I'm excited to try it because it is a very, very trendy Chinese coffee shop. But you can go ahead and look up the historical chart of Luckin Coffee when it used to trade in the US under the ticker symbol LK. And I had this kind of similar pattern recognition. Somebody had asked me about United Healthcare. And I was like, this was when United Healthcare was essentially going no bid, peeling off, 20% a day. It was down like 20% every day. And I'm like, this is very reminiscent of either outright fraud or fraud allegations. Stocks just don't go no bid like that. And then once I said that, 2 days later, all these allegations about United Healthcare start to come out. Now, I'm not saying there was any fraud involved. It's not really my wheelhouse. I don't cover Healthcare. I don't cover biotech, but usually the stock price tells a story. This way is overlooking Lewis Court. This is overlooking Vineyard Vines. Wow, this looks like a really nice Italian restaurant. Terra. Here's a close-up view of the St. Mary's Catholic Church. Really stunning landscaping, my God. Looks like a lot of the hydrangeas. Now we're on West Elm. Looks like they're doing a lot of construction here. They definitely do a good job of keeping up the maintenance here. Here's that Le Labo. Smells very good. Now we're passing down again by the town hall. And we're going to head back down towards the financial center and back at the Metro North. Here's the Greenwich Municipal Center, the historic district, 1893 to 1938.
Okay.
I'll definitely have to check out Stamford, Connecticut. That's another one that I really want to check out too. I can't believe they have a Gregory's coffee here. These are all over New York. And to the left again is the Greenwich Financial Center. And 4 blocks away from the Metro North. Just past the Apple store. Remember, the Apple is on the corner of Griggs. Sorry.
Around here, in summer. Yeah, come on,
It's just such a beautiful day. Beautiful town. It's unbelievable. So impressed.
I think she like wants me to see it.
Wow, these buildings look great from across the street on our side. Really nice. This is where I ate, right in here. Le Pain Bakery. And there's that East End restaurant again. All right, everyone, if you enjoyed that walking tour of Greenwich, Connecticut, the home of many hedge funders and Wall Streeters, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. And leave me a comment, where do you want me to explore next in New York, Connecticut, or New Jersey? And as always, we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.